Hello gamers and welcome back to another YouTube video. Today it's going to be on another tank buffed, even if it is only slightly, in 2.0, the good old AMX 50B. Alright, so talking about 50B and its armor is actually kind of important because the 50B hull is actually very well sloped. Nothing else matters. Unlike the 57 has a pretty good turret. The 50B does not. But what the 50B does have, which you sometimes can bait people with, is the hull. You can see that here against an angle, like people are not betting this, and you can be pretty liberal in the way you peek, to be honest. Let's put 360, which will be the whole repen, which it doesn't get better than that, right? 360 AP, right? Caliber doesn't change anything, but anyways, this is against the Hori. So yeah, the Hori pens that, right? Like the Hori pens that, but it ends up not penning this slope or the lower plate even, which means you can honestly bait pretty well still with the 50B. You will find a lot of people that are willing to shoot the hull. And that is especially important for close range engagements. When you're playing a corner juggling this hull, you will from time to time find people willing to shoot it and end up blocking some pretty big shots because of it, or randomly blocking some shots as well. Especially also because when you're hold on, you know, sometimes they hit this. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen from time to time. So welcome to the 50B video. You see the beautiful camo. The M60 also has the same beautiful camo. It's unbelievable. If I could give that one away, I would. But the 50B underwent some changes as well in 2.0. But to be honest, when you're playing this tank, you will not really notice them too much altogether, to be honest. I think that's fair to say. I had to basically read up on them to actually figure out what they changed. And yeah, for the 50B, it's like I get a lot of questions about this tank, about 50B versus T57. I think for the majority of the player base, the T57 is just a far more convenient and easy to play tank than the 50B. And the 50B is pretty difficult to play properly. It's big. It has basically no armor except for the hull, which I showed you in the beginning. And unless you can play around that and can hit your shots, it's going to be very hard. So this initial peak on Prokhorovka is one I usually make. Usually I don't get clamped like this for it though, so you know that was pretty sad. End up destroying the building. The reason why we always destroy the building is because we don't have to peek that much then to shoot the guys peeking on zero line. They can shoot you back as well, but it's still an advantage for you more than it is for them. So in this Prokhorovka, it's a full tier 10 battle, no light tanks, so you know, it's always nice to start it off by donating a little bit towards the enemy team. You know, make them think you're a bot, so later on in the battle, you can find your way back on towards them. But, you know, there's more video of like, how does 50B do in nowadays meta, you know, since we've played it before. And I don't feel like it changed that much compared to what it used to play. Against tier 11s, of course, you know, I feel like every autoloader becomes a bit worse because of that, especially something like a 50B. Simply because, you know, it's like a tougher matchup when you're playing against tier 11s, and those tanks can be pretty disastrous towards your 50B. But that was a beautiful clip. You know, find 3 shots on the paid 113 BO, which is pretty good. And, you know, if you can do this a few times, then of course it's not going to be that bad. But, again, this is a very specific scenario. We'll see in the later battles it will be a lot different. We have a little bit of everything. This is initial, you know, sniping gameplay. And, you know, this is why Prokhorovka remains high up on the list of maps that I like to play. Simply because it's 2025 and people still don't know that they can't peek zero line and keep feeding you in the middle of the map, you know? I give or take another 10 years and maybe the initial investment will pay off its return for those people. But somehow I think that they would have been better just investing in an index instead of trying to just do their own plays, you know? But, well, anyways. So, you know, we got 2.8k damage out of it, which is, I mean, it's halfway towards 5k, you know? And honestly, this is why Proko is always... I don't really tend to have bad games of Proko, to be honest. They don't really happen. I have bad clips on Proko, though. You know, like this one. Right, that's a 50B moment. That's a 50B moment. Accuracy, you know, it's better than the T57 because the T57 is more random, but it's not like amazing either. You know, it's like on this range, you have 4 shots, you expect to pen maybe 2. But it's 3-0, we still have 2.7k damage. There was absolutely no Pega aim involved in that whole clip. And I understand that while, you know, this gameplay is not the most dynamic, it also has its role and purpose in the game, to be honest. The Bachelor is a paid actor delivering his HP on a silver platter, so that's pretty cool. But like Prokhorovka, you know, I still like it. It's a change of pace in a lot of cases. I take a shot here because I'm a bot. I should never have taken that. But it's a change of pace. It slows down a lot. And honestly, I quite like that. You know, it definitely... Like Prokhorovka is the map where you're almost always guaranteed at least 5 minutes. You know, and honestly, I don't remember the last time I was guaranteed 5 minutes anywhere. Usually 2 minutes, 3 minutes maybe if I'm lucky. So, you know. It's always nice to last just a little bit longer, you know, for the extra performance. The bad shot, I think, is using the CVS optics. We only get 1 shot at that. It was a risky peek. You gotta be careful with these middle peaks. I don't really end up doing them too often normally, simply because you get blasted from 0 line for it. I end up getting away with it because they were not ready to shoot it, but in general, I recommend when peek in the middle, you gotta be very, very careful. You can do it once in the beginning, and then throughout the rest of the game, you have to be extremely careful with doing it. Just like a note, you know, editor's note. Don't peek this too much later, right? I mean, yeah, lasting longer is indeed the game lasting a bit longer, you lasting a bit longer. It's, you know, pleasure for everybody, right? So it's good on all fronts. You know, the game lasts longer, you last longer. The climax is later. I mean, who wouldn't be happy with that? Anyways, you still gotta be careful though. Nonetheless, with this tank peeking in the middle, simply because, talked about it in the beginning, you are very tall. So you will be sticking out in a lot of positions. And you see, as much as the 50B likes to troll from time to time, it also likes to be an absolute crazy machine. The clip there is tremendous. Especially the last shot against the E5 under the rail, under the cart between the beginning of the rail. It's a crazy shot, to be honest. It's actually a crazy shot. And you see, even with the battle being A2 and us being up for quite a while, it takes time for the Prokhorovka battle to finish. It just the way it is, especially when there's no light. Prokhorovka without a light is horrible, but Prokhorovka without the light also has an advantage that the game lasts quite a while. Now the fact we took 2 shots for that clip, pretty bad, because we are a 1-shot now. And this means that because of that, we are gonna have to play more careful. But now that, you know, they're not really countering us anymore, this is again a risky peek because I could die for this. Missing on the 3rd, but nailing it on the 4th. So, you know, get 7.6 out of that. Pretty good. And I remember this battle very, very well altogether. So we have our M60 pushing down the 3 line, and, you know, you see it already getting a little bit closer, you know. It was up 6k, and now it's up 2k, the M60. Even though he has a nice camo, did decide to commit seppuku on 1-2 line, so that's pretty sad, you know. And now the bad shot kind of committing as well. It's double Leo on a 75A versus our remainder of our team. I'm hoping for a spot. That's probably not gonna happen. So, considering where to go now, 1-2 line is kind of open. And the leopard gets spotted out at the back. Sadly, I was not ready for that whatsoever. So, I'm also not in a good position for it. I should have already been around here, around the middle area of the map. And, you know, I'm moving towards 1-2 line. Ideally, I would even like to take E1 at some point. But for now, I'm just watching the leopards. My teammates are rolling in as well. And I have a Type 71 that's AFK on the hill by the looks of things. Now, the leopard gets spotted out. We can't shoot that. The concept is moving in. We're still not really in a good position. We slow down way too much here for no reason. We should be booking it roughly towards E1. We assume that the other leopard is, well, there he is. He gets spotted out. So we should be able to get some shots on this one at the very least. You can see it's tied. We move up a little bit just to get a better shot. The outlines, when they go through numerous bushes, they end up being buggy, so you always gotta pay attention. And I would drop him down towards 600 HP now. So I saw the tree knock over. I need the concept to wait with anything until I'm reloaded. I have 16 seconds. Sadly, the concept does not wait. He blows his load early, and that's why always gotta try and keep your load in for as long as possible, because he did it so early that he dies to the two of them while I'm reloading and can't kill the leopard. So I get spotted out now, which honestly I don't even know how. Yeah, I just don't even know how. But anyways, I go behind the wreck, and at this point I'm like, oh well, I'm dead. So the leopard gets spotted out. I'm looking for a shot, will not find it. And I assume that because of the bushes in front of me, that whatever spotted me is no longer spotting me altogether. But yeah, honestly, no, the concept 5 there, this is what happens when you think the game is won and you start driving in one by one, and then all of a sudden you're losing. And I decided to go in a bush here and spot in front of me. Things to note on the enemy team, which is something you should do in the beginning as well, is when you look at this scenario, you see a leopard with 2000 HP and you see a leopard with 1850 HP. The leopard with 2000 HP is using hardening and probably not spotting equipment across the board, while the leopard with 1850 HP is either a Vents Enjoyer with a stabs because he has a major skill issue, or he's running spotting equipment. In the World of Tanks player base case, you should probably assume that he has both at the same time. Like, he has a skill issue and he's using spotting equipment. Which means that you can't really move anywhere in the 50B, because, you know, the moment you move, you lose your stationary camo, which is not much, but, you know, nonetheless, you lose your stationary camo. And he goes to the moving camo, which means he will outspot you if he has CVS. So, something to keep into consideration. I'm 95% sure that I thought about it in this battle, like 99%. And the bad thing is here that, you know, all of the extra HP is located on the Type 71, which is currently how to say, AFK. So yeah, it's pretty tough. The leopard gets spotted out in the back. I don't have a shot, and I'm just hoping that there's a leopard pushing up on 1-2 line at some point that I can outspot. My Type 5 dies, and yeah, you know, Type 71 is the AFK. I'm a one-shot. Things are not looking good. Still, though, we can hope that one of the leopards gets spotted out. He does get spotted out. We're going to go for the double bush. And we find ourselves a first shot, not spotted. We find a second shot as well. And we're potentially bringing back the game. We have one more shot for the leopard. We go back into our bush. And this is where it happens. This, let me pause the replay here, is the biggest bait you will ever imagine. The Type 5 pings C1. I did not pay attention to his first C1 ping. But you think, oh, the Type 5 died, so he might be in the knocked over 3, because the Type 5 died over there. And you're like, oh, maybe he's right. And then when you look at my position, maybe I'm like sticking out a little bit towards the side, right? So what happens? I look at the tree, I'm like, okay, maybe I need to readjust in case that I don't get spotted by that Leopard 1. And instead of that, the bait from the Type 5 ends up making me move and killing me in the process. Which is just fantastic, to be honest. Nonetheless, this is why you shouldn't ping false positions to your teammates. Simply because, well, you end up in this scenario. It wasn't a blind, right? No, I think the leopard just spotted me with CVS. But at least our AFK Type 71 woke up. I'll show you the beautiful gameplay you're about to witness from the AFK Type 71 that just came back. And let me tell you, it's absolutely fantastic. Drives down the middle of the map, right? Continues driving down the middle of the map. Gets out spotted, takes the first shot. Takes the second shot for driving on top of the ridge. Right, is in the hole now. Drives up, takes the third shot. Blinds, misses. Gets outspotted again. There was a 3 knocked over. And outspots the leopard 1 and clashes the game. Absolutely unbelievable. What a performance. So, second battle. And a little bit different, of course, because it's against tier 11s with tier 10. Always a bit more difficult. But we do get Coil River from the better side of the map. Talking about map change, it's always interesting that this map hasn't actually been changed yet either, simply because of the way that the 890 line firework. You're about to witness it as well. It doesn't always go the same way, but because you get early in position, you usually end up punishing the enemy team more so for driving in position, especially those slower tanks coming around the zero line bend are in trouble if a team plays these positions pretty aggressively, to be honest. And, you know, in the beginning we see an AX do it as well. We're trying to peek as little as possible so we don't end up getting owned. Because, again, we're pretty tall, so if we stick out, we're going to be in trouble. We find a good clip there against the enemies, but they're pushed up very aggressively where the Batshot is, so you got to be careful. You would like to run away with the number of guns that they're sending. At the same time, you do not want to end up getting owned by this Batshot, by this AX, and by this Kran. I'm just waiting for an opportunity to actually back away. The hacker's now behind us, so it's all not the greatest. The hacker, however, may have gone a little bit too far. We find one shot against him. We find a second. We decide not to repeat because of the Badger, and now we really have to back away. Those tanks, AX and Mivi, one of the two on reload, take another shot. So you can see that even with, you know, you going aggressive early, you can get punished still. If they end up committing heavily on that flank, which is exactly what they did. They ended up committing super heavily. And it's about making sure you run away, and you run away far enough. If you stay here where the 432 is, you probably still get overrun, to be honest, because you don't have the cover from E1. If you have a lot of tanks at E1, you can sometimes hold on the lower side of the road where the Kran is now, and play from there, and have E1 absolutely blasting. However, in this case, it's only a Hirsch, so we're not going to go for that. Instead, we're going to make our play towards the middle of the map. Instead, we see a 432. He's trying to side scrape. That's good for us. We're trading HP for this, of course, but it is a 3-4-1. Well, 4-for-1 trade if you include a Batshot, and that is the secret to autoloaders. It's really that simple, guys. It sounds super simple on paper. All you gotta do to play an autoloader successfully is shoot them 4 times, and preferably only take 0 or 1 shot back. If you do this successfully, you will always have 5k. It's just that easy, right? It's super simple. Anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. Yeah, we saw the AV there as well in the corner of our eye, but we are greedy, so we end up peeking anyways. Guilty pleasure, being greedy. We do 5k because in that clip we took 0 shots for the 4. So, you know, it's that simple. It really is that simple. Do 4 shots, don't take any back. Continue doing this, and you'll always have good battles. But yeah, no, in general, there's no like ultimate game changer to playing an autoloader, except for don't trade your HP early. You know, it's like everything's about your traits. Trades, 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 trades. One bad peek, and you're dead. Now, this is an interesting situation. They're starting to push up in the middle. We don't want to get caught out. We don't want to be too close, because once we start reloading, they can overpush us. They have a lot of HP as well. My 432 dies. And again, I'm just trying to sit far enough back that they need to aggro into the can opener, who's full HP, and that they don't aggro into me instead. So I find the first good shot there against the Mivi. Still playing it slow. A hacker peeking out, makes the shot. Now we go for the shot against the Mivi. We find that one as well. My cano is trading out. This is a banger through the window there. It's unbelievable though, no? Like, let's think about it. Wargaming and their modeling. Some parts are absolutely modeled like complete garbage. Like not modeled at all. Windows you cannot shoot through, corners that are not corners, gaps that are not gaps, and then you have a building like that and it's modeled perfectly. You know, like it's perfect. And it makes you really wonder, where is the consistency? But anyways, there was a really good clip against the Mivi. Some really nice shots as well. The Kano is kind of in a bad position with side scraping, to be honest, makes it hard. We successfully bait the BZ, find the shot as well, and lucky that the Kano opener missed us because we got clapped by the gorilla camping on the back. That's amazing. I love that personally. Yeah, the gorilla from the building is there. Didn't even think he had a shot on us. Gives us one to the face for 806. That's pretty sad because, you know, for the rest of this game, if I had 1000 HP, I would honestly be in a position that is pretty solid. You know, like it'd be Very playable. I have a lot of HP. I could take a hair shot. I could take a gorilla shot. I could even take a non-pen from the FE and be fine. You know, so there's a lot of possibilities. Now, when I'm a one-shot, instead it's different. You know, like I die to every single one of them, including the hacker. So my days of making plays seem to be numbered altogether. Kind of need to hope that the enemies, that my teammates clean up 9-0 line, and I decided to relocate here simply because they know I'm in the middle. I could get pushed by one of the TDs. The odds are very low because TD players have about 3.5 combined brain cells, so them repushing middle is unlikely, but it could happen. In this scenario, you always got to be careful when relocating. The hacker could appear at any moment, and he does. And, you know, we might not have the quickest fingers in the West anymore, you know, old age, but we're quick enough to make sure that he dies. So, at this point, again, you want to relocate because, you know, those 3.5 brain cell TDs might still be repushing the middle. So, you want to get out of there because it's not really a good position to hold either. It's like a 1 max 2 shot position when they push you. We're crossing back towards the middle, just working off where the last spotted, you know, like on the minimap they will see the last spotted, and that's kind of what we're working around. And this is, you know, the downside of being in this situation. All my HP is on the Hirschkäfer. He's not gonna push. They have 3 TDs. They're not gonna push. You're a one-shot. And you would want to make a play here, right? You would want to do something. However, the problem is in this scenario is that they've been despotted for so long that they could be anywhere. You know, leaving the middle towards your own base could be risky because those TDs could already be in front of your base and would outspot you. They could be anywhere. So whenever you start repushing on a one-shot, it's like, okay, you take your own base back, you survive that, great. You push down 1-2 line, you get spotted G1, you're dead. You got spotted at K2 peeking, you're dead. Without any HP, the best thing to do in a scenario like this is to do absolutely nothing. That's the sad part. I will speed up a little bit because from what I remember, this was a very, very slow endgame. The Kano is pushing up 0 line, right? Slowly but surely. And I'm just watching from middle. My Hirsch is now pushing up as well, so they are making some moves. You want to support this as well. With the Hirsch pushing up, at some point it's no more reasons to cover the middle because they would be spotting if somebody tried to drive into it. I did loan my HE clip simply because Hirsch is spendable with HE, AV is spendable with HE, Grotto is spendable with HE. They're all spendable with HE. So why not try it, right? A little bit of extra damage never hurt nobody. But the AV gets spotted out at an angle that I'm not covering. That's pretty sad for us because, you know, you can see the Hirsch and the Kano get pretty good damage into him. And, you know, I'm kind of driving like a headless chicken in this battle at this point because, like, I want to cover against the AV. And then at the same time, the gorilla gets spotted out. I'm not ready to cover against the gorilla. Then the Hirsch gets spotted out on the other angle. I'm not covering that either. Like I said, just kind of a headless chicken. My Hirschkäfer ends up dying. And this gorilla is actually pretty safe. You know, like he's pretty safe. I have his pixel. I'm waiting at this point because we expect him to peek out and just gonna blind clip. That one hit. That one doesn't. So there's that. And at this point, you know, the Kano is pushing up, which is pretty good. Nonetheless, he's doing a good job with the Kano, to be honest. Closing the distance a little bit. They, however, still have 3 tanks left standing. So, you want to cover this Kano to the best of your capabilities. But normally speaking, if the enemy team plays properly, they should always end up winning this. I've been just checking what the Kano is doing and checking if he's AFK. But honestly, this Kano, you know, like you're wondering, what is he doing? Like, what is he doing? And he looks like an AI program when he does that, you know? But maybe he has 400 IQ. You know, maybe he knows more than we do. Maybe he's mentally ahead. Yeah. Maybe he's just smarter. It's possible. And you know what? He is actually smarter because, you know, he just sits in that position and the gorilla simply drives into him and he double taps him. Like, it's crazy. It's actually crazy. In the meantime, we blinded our clip. We're reloading. We got nothing out of that. So it's, you You know, our end game has been 0. There was a full HP FV, we got 0. There was a full HP Gorilla, we got 0. It's honestly crazy. It is, I don't know what to say about it. It's just in terms of damage, it's a bad endgame. But in terms of like plays, it's still the correct way to assess the situation. I mean, I could have done more, but I could also have driven out of the middle and died instantly. You know, like it's not that simple. Just hunting for the HK for here though. Oh, we spot him out. He's behind us. Don't find him the first. That somehow misses. Don't track him either. But luckily enough, you know, he's not that fast. We got the final kill. It was a good battle. Pearl River though. Some good relocations, good patience, good angles, good shooting as well. Rewarded with pretty good damage. So, one more replay. And probably the, how to say, the hardest scenario of them all, which is when, you know, you're brawling. We're speeding it up because, you know, there's no point watching me drive after watching too long replay already. This is probably the hardest scenario in a 50B, which I think most people would struggle with in almost any tank without armor. It's the brawl on El Halluf against hold-on tanks, against high alpha heavies, tank destroyers, you name it. There will be it. It's probably the toughest altogether for most players. Find a good shot, and honestly, the brawl is much easier. Or this little tiny, can't really show it, but this rock here, the way it's shaped, right? The way this rock is shaped makes it much better from the other side to peek that corner, and you get a way harder shot from this side. You actually have to like kind of aim it out. While for them, you're just fully sitting sideways, you know. So. I will say that from this side, you know, it's always harder, in my opinion, to play this corner. We're just trying to be sneaky here and finding some shots by wide peeking. You can be a little bit greedy, but you know, when you play this, it all depends on risk management and like understanding how far they are, that they can peek you, who you can get shots on, who's reloaded, and if it's worth to even wide peek to begin with, you know. In general, I would say usually it is pretty worth it to wide peek, but you know, again, it depends a little bit. The Type 71, we wouldn't have gotten a shot even if we were holding the corner. Since our teammates are pushing up, it's time for us to push up as well. Is it a true brawl? Not really. It's more of a, how to say, like a big bounce by the BZ. He has the hull. You see, you know, aiming dead center here. That is calculated, fellas. That's calculated, alright? You can literally see me re-aim dead center on it in the hopes of hitting his armor rack. That's not rigged RNG. That is aim. That's aim. That's aim. You can watch that 100 times, bruh, and you'll see the same thing. But, you know, it's not a true brawl. However, it's a game of speeding up and trying to sit with the speed of the battle. Going for the fuel tanks there, missing, but already hitting it on the first. Bouncing on the second as well, and you could say, oh my god, this guy is so greedy. But guess what, fellas? Greed pays off. We may have bounced 2 shots, but that's duly compensated by the 1600 damage fire. That's not rigged RNG, that's just aiming for the fuel tanks, alright? Losing out on 800 to do 1200. That's just the way it is. And this game is a good example of trying to stick with the speed of the battle. It's a good one to have in it, because you're going to have a lot of games like this as well, where, you know, you're like chasing damage because it's like over in 2 minutes, which it basically is what this is. Another bounce on the hull. As long as people are going to shoot the hull with AP and APCR, they're going to continue bouncing, alright? That's again not CC armor or some shit, that's just them not aiming properly. Shoot the turret. Don't shoot the hull. It's that simple. You know what I mean? Like, shoot the turret, don't shoot the hull. That's all there is to it. Too bad the Fudge is taking a lot of damage here though. Already. Don't find a shot against him either. And in the ideal world, we would have gotten, you know, 3000 damage against the mouse if we don't bounce the 2, but it is what it is. Hit that on the move. Not too shabby altogether. And it's the quickest Halluf you can imagine. But it's a good example of well, rigged RNG and trying to stay with the speed of the game to find as much potential as possible. Which is honestly kind of what we did in this. I mean, sure, those mouse bounces, but it was tight. Or that. Nonetheless, it's a quick 7.4 in a 4-minute 30 battle. nonetheless. As always, gamers, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. I'll see you all in the very next one.